Omar, thanks for your time. Many divided opinions in India. Almost everybody agrees that we should have laid out the red carpet, given President Zardari the welcome that was due to him. But how much to read or not read into this meeting is the big question. Notwithstanding that Goshtaba to Dosa, Kashmir to Kanyakumari menu on the table, what are your first impressions?
Well, honestly, I wasn't expecting too much from this visit in the first place. So there's nothing to be disappointed about. I mean, we've always maintained that what we want with Pakistan is a continuous engagement. Unfortunately, what we've had so far is a series of one-off meetings rather than a process. And I think what we've seen today is perhaps the possibility that we can have a process wherein we can meet, we can talk without even an unstructured sort of agenda, and we can keep the process going with the ultimate aim of resolving both the big issues as well as the smaller ones that have dwarfed our relationship all these years. So for those who are saying it hasn't lived up to its expectations or we're disappointed, I think you were probably expecting far too much then.
Omar, can I ask you that would you say that a shift in the India-Pakistan equation is that Kashmir no longer dominates the discourse or no longer hijacks, I would say, the discourse as it once used to?
I think that's a good thing. It will perhaps point towards a maturity in our relations. We haven't heard the sort of jingoism from Pakistan this time, that it's Kashmir first and everything else second. I think that's the way it should be. Jammu and Kashmir is an important issue between the two countries. It's an issue that has long festered and has threatened our relations ever since the emergence of Pakistan in 1947. So just the fact that it hasn't been talked about that much doesn't mean it's not an important issue. But it hasn't hijacked the dialogue, and I think that's an important thing. Before I ask you my next question, I think Mr. Parthatharthi has a question for you.
I think there's a very important point. In 2007, we reached agreement on the framework of a solution in Kashmir. Yeah. I have always held our government for being remiss in not keeping the parliament informed and also of not making this public. Yeah. We are a democracy. So I don't think we should fight shy. There was a framework we agreed on after painstaking negotiations. I would be very happy to go back to that framework. Yeah. So the ball is really in Pakistan's court. If tomorrow somebody from Pakistan tells me, I'd love to discuss Kashmir, say fine, we agreed on something in 2007. That resonated very well with the international community. You saw the European Parliament resolution. You saw the
So you're saying there's a template that is available?
Yes, so there's a template that is available. As far as I'm concerned, I'd be happy to go back to that template.
Can I quickly go back to Omar? Omar, do you believe that 4-point formula, as it's now called, is that workable template for Jammu and Kashmir?
It was a 9-point formula.
Well, okay.
There were 5 points from Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe that template is a workable format going forward, or the only workable template now unofficially accepted in a sense by both sides? Omar?
Barkha, how can I comment about something that I don't know about? I mean, unfortunately, whether you like it or not, none of us here have been taken into confidence officially about any sort of, about even the existence of a template. So how can I express any satisfaction with it? Certainly, if there is a template and it's going to form the foundation of our discussions, then at some point the elected leadership of Jammu and Kashmir should be taken into confidence.
Fair enough. Can I ask you that much debate now over whether it's time for the Prime Minister to go to Pakistan? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, as the Prime Minister said, I think in the tweet that followed his statement, when the mutually convenient date he will travel, I think a visit is overdue, but they'll have to find the right occasion. And certainly, as Ambassador Parthatharthi pointed out, it's not going to make for very appealing visuals if you have the Prime Minister landing into Islamabad on one side and Hafiz Sayyid addressing a rally on the other side of your TV screen.
That is important, and if you'll just be patient, I'd like to get Hamid Mir to respond to that, and we'll come to you, Omar, for a last comment. Then Hamid, that is the problem, that the Prime Minister may want to reach out to the civilian democracy, but Hamid Mir roaming the streets free on Pakistan, leading anti-India rallies, making inflammatory statements about Kashmir is a problem for many Indians.
Yes, you're right, but I hope that when Prime Minister Manmohan Singh will come to Pakistan, at that time Hafiz Sayyid will not be able to address anti-India rallies, at least in Rawalpindi or Islamabad, maybe in some remote areas. And second thing, I agree with Omar Abdullah Saab. If he is not aware about any formula reached between India and Pakistan in 2007, I am also not aware about any formula. And third thing, Barka, you are mentioning again and again about Gushtapa. Gushtapa is a very famous Kashmiri dish, but you see, it's meat. It's meat, but let me tell you that President Zardari is a vegetarian. So maybe it's a good symbolic gesture.
I hope he got some nadru as well then. I hope he got some nadru as well. There's always a good not too many vegetarian meals from Kashmir, at least, Omar.
No, there aren't, unfortunately, which is probably why President Zardari owes me a rupee, because when I met him in Pakistan before he became president, he had promised that on a future visit to India, he would visit Kashmir. And I bet him a rupee that he wouldn't be able to, and he hasn't been able to so far. So I think the next time I see him, I'm going to claim that rupee from him.
But would you like him to visit Kashmir?
Certainly. I think, again, it's long overdue that visits like this take place. I would like to be able to visit Mirpur and Muzaffarabad, and I think for President Zardari to be able to come to Jammu and Kashmir will also be a good forward movement.
That's an important statement from you, Omar. Just a last question to you. Trade has been touted as the way forward, where economics could do what politics couldn't, especially cross-border movement, cross-LOC movement. Do you see that as the new template for India and Pakistan going forward?
Well, it's something we from Jammu and Kashmir have been crying hoarse over, the fact that we have cross-LOC trade, but it hasn't lived up to the promise that it started with, simply because it's remained as barter trade. And the Assembly, by a voice sort of support, asked the two governments to look at the cross-LOC trade and convert it from barter trade into actual trade on the basis of banking relations, and from a positive list to a negative list based trade. We hope that the two governments actually give serious consideration to that request from the Assembly.
Do you have the NDTV Profit app? All the markets, all the news and your own homemade, ready-made portfolio available there for you.
We will right now answer what you should sell, what you should buy when markets are down.
Download at ndtvprofit.com/apps. Get the best app from the channel you trust.